written for Rowan Ravenmoor. In the quiet village of Greyvale, where mist clung to stone cottages like a thin veil, Rowan Ravenmoor moved through the market square with the steady rhythm of a pilgrim whose ash-coloured cloak brushed the cobbles. She was known as the Ashen Pilgrim, a wanderer who carried a small brass phial of river water, the same water that, in legend, rose upward against the hills. The river itself, a narrow ribbon of silver that slipped past the village, flowed in a way that seemed to defy gravity, and the villagers accepted its oddity as part of the ordinary world. One morning, as the sun lifted shyly over the eastern ridge, the river halted its upward climb and surged backward, spilling over the stone bridges in a sudden, trembling flood. The water roared with a voice that was not its own, and a luminous stone rose from its depths, hovering above the surface like a captive star. The villagers gasped, and Rowan felt a shiver run through her ash-coloured cloak, as if the stone had whispered a summons only she could hear. Rowan stepped toward the trembling water, the crowd parting like reeds in a wind she could not see. She lifted the brass phial, feeling the cool weight of the river inside, and pressed it against the luminous stone. The stone pulsed, and the river's current pushed back, forcing her to wade through cold, swirling eddies. Each step was met with resistance from the mud and the skeptical eyes of villagers who muttered that the pilgrim had invited a curse. At the river's edge, a hidden channel revealed itself, winding upward like a silver thread climbing the cliff face. As Rowan entered the channel, the luminous stone slipped from the water and settled into her palm, its light blooming into a map of hidden passages. The river, now calm, seemed to guide her upward, and she realized that the true pilgrimage was not across the land but against the very flow of water itself. The ascent grew steeper, and the channel narrowed into a cavern where shadows gathered like restless thoughts. Within the darkness, a misty figure emerged, its outline shifting between water and stone, demanding that Rowan abandon the stone or be swallowed by the river's relentless pull. The figure spoke in riddles, testing her resolve, and each answer she gave seemed to thicken the water, making the climb ever more perilous. At the cavern's mouth, the river surged once more, now a torrent of bright light that threatened to drown the pilgrim. Rowan clutched the luminous stone, feeling its warm pulse sink with her own heartbeat. In that moment she faced a choice: to release the stone and let the river flow freely upward, or keep it and preserve her own safety. With a breath that steadied the trembling air, she flung the stone into the roaring current, watching as it dissolved into a cascade of rising light. The river, freed from the stone's weight, surged upward with renewed vigor, carving a new path through the cliff and spilling into the sky above Greyvale. The flood receded, leaving the village bathed in a gentle, glowing mist. The villagers emerged, eyes wide with awe, as the water that once threatened them now lifted them, blessing the fields and the homes. Rowan stood at the riverbank, her ash-coloured cloak damp, but her spirit light, having guided the river back to its rightful ascent. As the sun set, the river continued its upward journey, disappearing into clouds that glimmered like distant dreams. Rowan turned toward the horizon, the memory of the luminous stone a quiet echo in her mind. She knew that the world would remember the day the river rose, and that her path as an ashen pilgrim was not finished. With a soft smile, she stepped onto the path that led beyond the village, ready to follow wherever the upward flow might lead next.